Hello everyone. Let's invite Natasha. How's everyone doing? So good to see everyone to get notified that we're live. I'm looking forward. If you have any questions, prepare them. Hopefully we will be able to answer them. Hello. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
Oh, a busy lady like you.
I see. We're all busy.
I don't know. I don't understand what's going, but just not enough hours in the day, I guess. Oh my God.
Times I feel the same. We have to rest, but we have no time.
Yeah, just so you know, my neighbor is okay. That was such an unfortunate thing. It was the most bizarre thing that I ever had in my life. So I apologize for that again.
It's okay. As I said, it's part of life, There's certain
It's,
things happens in life we unexpected, but that's nice that they have such a nice neighbors like you that always there.
oh no, they help me with my generator. They watch over us. They're so good to us. I wouldn't think of not supporting them.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Um,
Hey, so first of all, I wanted to tell everyone that you have a book that you wrote. So I just
yes.
let people know and promote the book. So if there's certain things that maybe we'll forget or we might will never have a chance to speak, you can always get a book and read. And it's such a beautifully written and from the stories and all the amazing ways to treat different alignments. So everything that we learn now, it's already written in a book, but it's good. So you should have a book on hand. So I just wanted to people that know, sometimes it's good to have a book on hand. My house is full of books.
Mine is too. I just never get to them.
Well, actually, I'm piling up. If I can just show you, there's like piles of book. I'm like, okay, so I remember I have to check this book and that book, and your book is always right here also. So
Thank you.
so much. And I also wanted to show the products because people all the time tell like, I don't understand the names. I don't understand the names. So I brought the probiotics to show. This is the probiotics that we're talking about with different strains, and there is also Life Start, and there is also another probiotic which are Vafos, and there is also Trenev Trio, which I don't have right here. And I
Yeah.
apologize for my dog. But I wanted to ask you, Natasha. Let's cover what are the other stuff besides antibiotics that we need to avoid if we want to build a good microbiome.
Well, there's been, not by me, but I can see on the internet a huge push for not drinking alcohol.
Okay.
And what most people don't understand that alcohol is made by yeast to kill bacteria. Okay. Most people don't know where this comes from or they're clueless. So if it's made to kill bacteria, it means it's a toxin. And not all toxins are tolerated by the human host, meaning us.
Uh huh.
And so, especially for women, that's another whole explanation that needs to be made. Women don't tolerate alcohol as well as men. And it's also a genetic feature, but whoever you are, the liver just has a horrible time with this alcohol, trying to process it. And the other day, I sent a whole list of problems that evolve from alcohol consumption. Every disease identified by Western medicine is linked to alcohol consumption and depending on what you drink. And actually, what happened, interestingly enough, wine sales are down in California significantly. It looks like the younger generation is not opting to have alcohol, which I think is a good thing because so many things we adopted culturally that were not good for us, that, now we're paying the consequences by not having our health and not being able to enjoy our life.
Uh-huh. So alcohol. What other stuff?
Okay, so
No,
the other,
actually, okay. While we covered the alcohol, now for the ones who are still in the college and having the fun time of their life and drinking, maybe not wine, but they do drink, tequila and all this crazy stuff. And yes, they're young, but they're immature. Will take time to learn. What will be for solution for them to take? They need to take probiotics. Which ones would you suggest?
yeah, I would say, the Trenev trio, because it's a comprehensive coverage of the whole intestinal tract. And then I would say I would take extra bifido, either the bifidonate or the new product that I developed called Trenev Duo.
Okay.
Yeah. So literally, you're destroying your liver. When you destroy your liver, you need extra support with bifidobacteria in the large intestine, which contains your colon, so that the bifidobacteria can start ushering out toxins so that to give the chance to the liver to recover. Okay, this is so important, especially if you're going to abuse your body and nothing we say will resonate with you. Please take this product seriously. Take the Trenev Trio at least twice a day. And if you can afford it, take the Trenev Duo right before you go to bed at night. Actually, you're going to have more energy. If you're an athlete, you're going to be able to perform better. You will have clearer thinking. You'll just wonder why you never took this product on a regular basis. And plus, I must tell you that most college dormitories are microbial breeding grounds, and people are not taught basic sanitation at home. So they have to have super strong immunity to survive that, ignorance, which ignorance is not bliss, where they come in contact with this bacteria, touch their face, touch their mouth, touch their eyes, and get a terrible infection.
You're so correct about that. My sons are, one is learning in university in Santa Barbara and one in UCLA. And I specifically the one who is in Santa Barbara. It tells me how the boys are there, hooked on the phone all day long. They are or either drinking coffee or eating the most eat cheap food. But then also sanitation when it comes, they don't clean their hands when they go. I'm sorry, for a poo and pee, they leave marks. There is a poo and pee everywhere. They don't have the basics. And I'm like, I don't understand. I mean, from where these people come, they come to university and they don't have the basic skills. And sometimes I really feel like it's like we need to really rethink how we educate, right? It's just a horrible what we are doing, and then we're expecting the next generation to fix the mistakes that we are doing now.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. There is a price to pay. And Santa Barbara historically has been known as a party university. But I know because I went to UCLA in the late 1960s. I graduated 1970s, and even then it had the reputation of a party town. So you think, ha ha, that's really good, but people don't think of the consequences that this party atmosphere can lead to autoimmune disease, can lead to the immune system attacking the cellular structure, and then we give it name like arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, and young people are getting these autoimmune problems without even guessing where the exposure was to cause their immune system to start attacking healthy cellular structure in the body.
Yeah. And
So,
it's
uh,
really important. That's why I said the basic education, it depends on us. And I want to say that I'm so thankful that I was able to give them the right basic foundation. So the son who is there, he is also a chef, so he understands about basic and cooking. And it just warms my heart because he understands that. And and he comes and says, Mom, they leave the stuff outside, they never wash their. I come and I need to sweep after I was awake from 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm so thankful. And many times parents, when they send their children, it's like, oh, thank God we send them. You don't understand. If you didn't give them the right tools, we're going to pay the price. And that's why most diseases actually kind of have the wave right after they finish university, right? A college,
Yeah.
university is the time where we see like a second outbreak. The first, we can say, where they're just children born. So we see eczema, acne, blah, blah, blah. Then a teenager. And then another, the worst, I would say, the wake up call is when they are in the high school and going to
Yeah.
university. Yeah.
Uh, Years ago, there was also tragedies with this meningitis outbreak in the universities. And a lot of times, a lot of these outbreaks are not even reported. And look, how can you have a clear mind and able to absorb information if you're tired because your body is now trying to deal with a cheap food that has God knows what in it. And if I went down the list, it would repulse people. But, there's no government looking out for you. The people selling you the cheap food are not going to put in better ingredients to lose money. They're going to find even cheaper stuff to put in so they can make more money.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah.
There was Sandy Gooch, who was one of the pioneers along with me in this industry, wrote a book many years ago, and it said, "If you love me, don't feed me junk." So I say not only that to the parents, I say that to the person, the body speaking to the person. If you love your body, please don't feed it junk.
Absolutely amazing. And what other things now? What other things that are harming?
Well, the fact is that, they're not eating enough vegetables, and they should all know that the body does talk to you. If you're having skin eruptions, it means even if you're eating healthy food, your immune system doesn't like it. And the second place of escape, if you're not eliminating through your feces the toxins, the toxins will come out through your skin. And then, of course, the Western medicine will give it names like psoriasis, acne, rosacea. And it's all connected to certain places in the GI tract that are not able to eliminate the toxins appropriately. So it's coming out through the skin.
100%.
And so, if you want to have beautiful hair, if you want to have beautiful skin, if you want to be able to think and not be confused, so you have to have 3 cups of coffee in the morning so you can think, and then you need to support your digestive tract and learn basic.
Oh, I lost you for a second. Maybe somebody.
Anyways,
Okay.
yeah, somebody was trying to call me. I'm
Okay.
just popular. What can I say? Uh,
Yes.
you know, I don't know how to really get people to understand because they love these videos where they list, I stopped doing this and I got better. Or gosh, I took a parasite cleanse and I felt better. A lot of this information is so restricted and so silly because it's actually mimicking what Western medicine teaches us that, one problem, one effect, whereas they're not taught that since we're more bacteria than we are human cells, that composition in your GI tract and everywhere else in the body better be optimally friendly to you than not, because you will get every disease under the sun if you let that go. And that's not my opinion. That's hard scientific fact now. So, you can joke about not understanding, because let me tell you, I've told people if you go to the gym, and I've told my daughter, do not sit on the bench. Do not, go use their spa or, a pool. Do not put your towel on the bench. Make sure you bring a plastic cover because the gym is riddled with this Staph aureus that's resistant almost to every known antibiotic. And I have the fact that I've warned parents and children about this problem when they've gone to the gym. And true story happened several years ago. The person's son went to the gym, got a pinprick on his leg. Within hours, it swelled up twice. And the fact that the father knew me, and he said immediately he put him in the car and took him to the hospital. The hospital told him, "You saved your son's life because this Staph aureus is so aggressive, it could have, caused a gangrene, and they would have had to amputate part of the foot." So it's not a game. It's not a joke. It's not something you want to be bothered with. You got to really take responsibility because we have chronic illness in this country. It's not good. 80% of adults are chronically ill. We've got diabetes, which is a killer, type 2 diabetes, again, related to the diet. And really, it's a mess up of the microbiota and the microbiome. If that's messed up, you're going to get all these diseases that Western medicine names, but they're all connected to what's going on in your GI tract, how you're processing your food, how you're absorbing your food, and whether or not you're just feeding your body or you're fueling your body. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. When you eat, you should have energy. You should not feel tired and a lack of energy. So if you've eaten something and you feel tired, never touch that food again. Don't put it in your mouth because your body is not utilizing it to build cells and to give you energy. It's your immune system is overreacting and finding that it's a problem. And so when the immune system becomes overactive, you're going to be tired. It's as simple as that. The immune system draws a lot of energy from your body. So if it's overreacting, that's why you feel tired, you don't have energy because your immune system is constantly on the alert. And believe me, in this day and age, you cannot afford to have an exhausted immune response. That's why I stayed so long in this field to educate people. I always tell them, I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you what the reality is. That there's very few people who understand any science left in the supplement industry. What science they quote is made for a marketing plan, not really to educate people. And it's so important that we understand this relationship between the bacteria and us because we're really a hybrid. If we are ignorant and don't understand this, we're going to have this explosion of chronic illness continue. And then people are going to give us magic pills to control symptoms and not really help the body make itself well. Because the body has the tools to make itself well. You just have to care enough to do it.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, um, yeah, yeah. mean, it's just for some people it's hard to process, and the issue is that we are bombarded from everywhere with so much kind of knowledge, but we're missing basics. And each time when I'm teaching, I'm trying to say we need first to go to basics. I even today
Yes.
recorded a video and I said, first, let's learn the basics, then you can fly, you can do whatever you want. But once you have a basic understanding, then if you add or something, you already much smarter because the overall picture is settled in your mind. And the problem is that we do not give basics. And what people do is just they give these quick solutions, and people like blindly jump on right, on left. Either it's a detoxes, or either not eating, or either starving themselves, or eating too much, or eating every hour, when in reality it's going back to the basic, learning about yourself, looking at your own body, seeing if you have a pimple somewhere. That's the ways of body telling you, listen, you have a pimple. It's not because the God hate you, or it's because there is a toxicity. Or if you see something like you said, eruption, eczema, all those stuff, they're not just happening out of nowhere. And we need to learn the basics. And that's why I love so much your approach, because you really speak simple language, and this is all about. I'm not interested in fancy language, not interested in fancy
Um,
names. People will come up with all this different terminology. I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't know what is this word even means. But when you start listening to the problem, oh, it's just a bowel problem, like it's because blah blah blah, or oh, just a toxicity, or you're not moving your bowels, simple thing. When we speak about microbiome, I always come say people don't know even how to poop. And many
uh,
times people What do you mean? I poop every day, but if you poop once a day, but you eat 3 or 4 times a day, where the other meals goes exactly? That's causing inflammation.
Yeah, exactly. And, I want to touch on this thing because, again, Western medicine divides disease states. They're all interconnected. If there's one thing we can take away from this interview is that every disease is interconnected to every part of the body, and every microbiome in the body reacts to those disease states. And that's why it's so foolish to try to treat symptoms. Now, I know there is a growing concern about depression and anxiety among young people, and that is a true problem. And it's not just psychological. It is also related to eating and what's happening to the microbiome. Because, again, I tell people, I firmly believe Western medicine engages in what I call complex terminology, because that separates the simple facts about what is really going on so that everybody can understand it. And I've confronted, many medical doctors, and I said, I didn't come here to wow with my technical terminology, because if I studied my technical terminology and you're not an expert in my field, I'd lose you in 5 minutes.
I
That's
agree
not the point.
100%, 100%.
you know
This is
so I'll make it simple. Everything that happens in our gut affects everything in our body, including our mood. So I was explaining to someone else with a science degree, mind you, that about 50% of the dopamine and 90% of the serotonin is produced by the beneficial probiotic bacteria. Not what everybody sells, but specific strains which I've studied. That helps because there's never a downside to that. And so if they produce the serotonin and the dopamine, it gets passed on from the vagus nerve, which is tied to your belly, all the way up to your lobe. And that's where those neurotransmitters need to be delivered in order for you to feel better. And the fact is, your perception of reality is creating this negative view. It's sending down signals back down your vagus nerve, causing a disruption in the microbiota, and it's a loop. So, in order to change the loop, first start changing your diet, start changing your microbiome, and then start changing your perception of reality. You got to work it both ways. And we need to have happy, healthy children. I think most people suffer because they're isolated, especially young people. They're not, making friendships. They're not hanging out with friends. And we are not a species that was designed to live in isolation. We were designed to mutually communicate, get together, have family and friends. And this is not happening today. And I'm really concerned, especially about young women, with this rate of depression and anxiety. Now, remember, if you have anxiety, it's also the flight or fight situation. So if you have this anxiety, all your blood flow is going to go to your extremities. It's not going to be there available to digest food, to rebuild your cellular structure. It's going to go to your extremities, and that's the type of person that needs extra care. In fact, in Western society, the microbes that line your gut and are everywhere in your body have started leaving us because we're not an optimal place for them to thrive. See, their objective is they have to thrive. And if we become a bad host for them to thrive, they leave, because 40% of your dry weight fecal matter is microbes. So you're expelling microbes every day. And if you're doing stuff like colon cleanses, parasite cleanses, and you're not doing reflorestation, meaning you're putting in the right uh, uh, probiotic bacteria for the small and large intestine, the transient flora, you're leaving yourself open to any problem that might be in there that you're not even knowing about, because every minute of the day, your body has to replace 10 million cells. 10 million. That's a lot. So if you've got this problem in your GI tract and you're producing cheap proteins, guess what? You will get something called dis-ease. That's what it means. It's no longer an ease, it's a disease. That's what disease means. And so we got to understand what these words really mean. It doesn't matter who invented them, but we have to understand the words, and that's what we should be focusing on, to make sure that our body has the tools to keep us healthy, so that we can enjoy our life, have a longer life, and not end up on 5 or more medications by the time we hit 50.
100%. And you know, the problem in also in the natural healing world is that either people go very much to the too much into healing and and exploring and diving deep, which is not bad, or they're going too much pharmaceutically. What I like to do is I always say be in the middle. It's always much safer till you learn the base, because if your body is not in a good state, and then you do this horrible detoxes, which is healthy detox from one side, you're taking herbs, you're doing this, but let's say you're not drinking, or you're dehydrated, or you know what, simple things like your life is miserable, yeah, and you're doing now this detox, you actually harming yourself. You're absolutely destroying any little thing that is left in your body. So, and the same we can say an opposite, people who are not listening to their body and they're just following my doctor said, my doctor said, my doctor said, they're absolutely ignoring their body. So what is the best is always be in the middle. And I always say the safe side is to learning about yourself. And it's like such an amazing feeling when you teach your children also, how do you feel? What do you feel? Why do you think you feel? Did you go to the bathroom? Do you have a headache? Oh, take a pill. Like, we need to stop with all that. And the
Yeah.
beauty of that, okay, why not to take up some probiotic? Let's just make a delicious yogurt together, right? And this is what changing the mindset will create a healthy generation. And that's what we need to do every single day. And I'm so blessed that you're willing to come and give us words of wisdom, because it's exactly what I'm trying to say. And I'm so thankful that I have this opportunity and to invite you and continue educate us more. Now tell me more. Tell me a little bit about all this. Think about the avoiding gluten, avoiding the bread, avoiding okay, common sense, yes, all the junky cereals, but we are living in a society where people are saying, oh, do not eat wheat, do not eat this, and then the other people say, okay, eat more starches, which is like more rice, tapioca starch, it's better. What would you say about all that?
Okay. It's a lengthy answer, but let me make it short.
Yeah.
Uh, bread was a staple in the United States. If you look at some of the shopping lists in the 20s and 30s, bread was a staple in this country, as it is in Eastern Europe. Bread, my grandparents, everybody eats bread. That's a staple. And the bread was very healthy. It was not poisoned. So what they did in this country, again, money, they first hybrid the wheat. Now, to give you an example, what happens when you hybrid anything, for instance, they hybrid roses in the United States and the roses lost their smell. Okay. So that's one thing that happens. So we don't know everything that happened to the wheat when they hybrid it. Of course, it was for better production. So about 15 years ago, they started doing GMOs. Now, even the ones who said we're not using the GMOs, if you have a field where you have the GMO wheat, it's so strong, it will start contaminating the wheat that's not GMO'd. And then that will change into a GMO. And guess what? That wheat cannot self-produce. You have to go buy your seeds from Monsanto.
Right.
Okay. So around the 1980s, I think where a lot of this stuff happened, because I had no idea what people were telling me gluten. I said, gluten is the protein part of the bread, of the wheat. Yeah. And I said, the reason your immune system is reacting to it is because bacteria and all microbes are mostly protein. So your immune system doesn't react to sugar or to carbs. It reacts to anything that is a protein because it believes it could be a dangerous entity to harm the health of the body. Most people don't know this. So what the immune system is, if you can think of it as a huge scanner, and that scanner is going around checking to see if hostile proteins are trying to cross the intestinal wall. And so now you have this GMO gluten that's got a different QR code than the normal healthy wheat gluten. And the immune system goes, oh, fire alarm, this is dangerous. Start, destroying any place on the intestinal wall that came into contact with this. And that's very painful. That's what then they call first gluten sensitivity. And then if it progresses, it becomes celiac disease. But nobody really understands what's going on. It's the aggravation of the immune system who's not able to read that QR code on that protein, which is the gluten, and causing all these problems in order to save the body. The primal objective of the immune system is to eliminate anything that's protein because it believes it's an aggressor, a pathogenic organism. So it has to destroy that or any part of the cells that were in touch with that protein.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you get disease names. And that's what's wrong with Western medicine, because nobody ever explains this. They just give you a name. I've got this disease. They don't understand where the disease came from, why it's there. They just keep repeating like a bunch of, I don't know, AIs. They just keep repeating the same story. They don't engage in any critical thinking. Nobody explains anything. So the same people who have problem with gluten in the US can go to Italy and France and consume bread or pizza. So,
Oh,
I'm going to continue how it's going there. So,
my
uh,
dog is barking. I'm trying to relax her, but she's
yeah, it's okay. I think all the dog lovers know that, sometimes the doggy has preference to everything else.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So, anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that this is our complete lack of understanding. Why can we go to Italy and France and have this bread and not have the same reaction? The same thing happened with milk. Milk is a staple. When I went to school in the 50s and the 60s, we used to get a small 6-ounce carton of whole milk. The children were not sick drinking that milk. Trust me. It's
Yeah,
what they did to the cows.
interesting. Exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I don't remember we get sick by drinking yogurt. It was actually part of healing. And the same
Yes.
comes to the bread. I never remember my grandma say, oh, today when the bread was everything, especially in Georgia. They have a bread and stuffed bread and hachapuri and this and
Yes.
tons
Yes.
of different ways of, but it's all bread. Bread is always was a staple. And then now we kind of learn, no, we have to avoid. What would you suggest to the people then?
Well, we're getting to the point where nobody's going to be able to eat anything. And the point is that, some people go to the length of getting flour from Italy or buying. I'm saying is that learn what your genetic background is. And then there's another movement. I don't know if you know that a lot of people are now into eating beef because they're not allergic to beef. Some
Oh,
people who are so allergic to
not whole
everything.
meat. It's
Yeah,
a right now it's all about eating a beef, eating raw meat, and it's like
yeah.
that's
It
crazy.
goes from one craziness to another instead of looking. What I did early on in my career is I studied every healthy culture. What was the lifestyle of that culture? What was their food intake? What made them healthy? And I said, yes, in that culture, you can get away with eating good fermented food because the families who were fermenting the food, I had a historical background, know what they were doing, and didn't get contaminants or possibly dangerous microbes in that fermented food like Americans do now. That's why I'm so careful when I let people ferment yogurt. That's why I have specific directions because I know people have lost that common sense factor that's never taught to them anymore. So we have a huge breakdown. We don't know where our food is coming from. And we've been taught cheap and what the food has become is addictive. That's another problem here in the States because those same people who introduced the chemicals in cigarettes to make them addictive were then hired by the companies because the tobacco companies had so much money, they went out and bought food companies. So the same disgusting concept of getting you addicted happened to the foods. It started first with the children's foods, and then it went to adult foods. And this is not a joke, it's a reality. It's like, why can't you just eat one chip? If you start eating a chip, you can't just eat one. You keep, even though you're full, you want to keep eating. Because again, I don't think it's even on the label, the stuff that they're using, honestly. This is my opinion. I
Not,
think that, pardon me?
I don't think that all of them. I think they put the major ingredients, but the rest ingredients they kind of, they don't need to disclose.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is. It's the same thing if you're watching TV, they're conditioning you not to turn it off. There's all kinds of manipulation, and we have to become aware of that. And I said to people, that's why you must now, in this social structure, take a really good probiotic that's safe at any level. And this is not a marketing or a sales pitch. I'm just telling you, I'm the one reporting what's going on. I'm not the cause of that. So if people get angry and mad and the why are saying this, and you've got to stop listening to all these people who don't even have 2 or 3 years of knowledge. I have 60 years of knowledge in this. I
Natasha,
have heard and seen everything.
what do you say to these people who are eating raw meat? Like
They're
literally,
crazy.
eating
They're
the
absolutely crazy.
it's like I remember my grandma when the way they would handle the meat, they would boil once and they would spill the meat like all this foam they would, and then
Hmm.
they would cook. When I came here, I see people just like cooking straight, they just not even boiling the meat or heat.
No.
It's very weird to me, but I do remember my grandma, she would boil it and I was like, why you boil it? Now people would say, what are you boiling? This is important stuff that you're boiling. No, that's the way it should be. You have to.
No, well, first of all, again, it's a bunch of nonsense. We don't live out in the wilderness. And I said, look at the healthy cultures. Look at what sustains civilization. Don't go for these fads where people, the people who are used to eating raw foods have generations of preparation. They have a completely different microbiome than the people who are not used. I know in Eastern Europe, nobody eats anything raw. In fact, they want it well done. And why? Because they don't want to get sick. It's the same thing I tell people, good luck eating sushi today because Fukushima never stopped spouting, radiation into the Pacific Ocean. So I said, good luck. You're probably getting a good dose of radiation with that, raw shrimp or the raw, fish that you're eating. Stop it. Get a handle. Don't just follow everything like a sheep. That's why we're having this huge, one bad bite can ruin your day. You can get a parasite that you're going to have now lifelong problems. You can't get rid of it. I don't care how many parasite cleanses you do. It's not that easy to get rid of a parasite. And you better start understanding the difference between a parasite and a bacterial infection because they're all mixed up. And I listened to them and I said, my God, it's like the blind leading the blind. People just put up stuff on the internet. My neighbor says, oh, I'm sure I have a parasite. I said, well, oh, yeah. I said, where's the lab proof? you know, do you have an expert in tropical medicine that can tell you that you're infected with this parasite you think you have? I said, do you know what the parasite cleanse does? Takes all the mucin off of your intestinal wall, allows anything to park there that wants to park there. And then you wonder 2 or 3 years later, you get some kind of a disease and you have no clue where that disease came from. This is the stupidity that we're engaging in. We just have we remember the last 30 seconds of what we heard. We don't have any in-depth thinkers. People are telling us so much misinformation. We're generating sick children. We have sick adults. And where we have to go is back to everybody who's an expert in their field and know what the heck they're ingesting and putting in their mouth. Just because somebody's got a sale or they're getting something for cheap doesn't mean to tell you how silly people have become. A friend of mine just told me 6 women, I guess it was in Florida, they were reporting this in the news, went to Turkey to get plastic surgery because they're going to get it cheap. Okay. So what happened while they were getting the plastic surgery, they took out one of their kidneys and they came home minus one kidney. Oh, yes.
My God.
And the reason I'm giving you this extreme example, that's how ignorant people are. They just go without checking. They listen to the person who's got the sexiest body, the prettiest smile, this long hair, and they want to identify with this person. So they do silly stuff that that person tells them to do. I always tell people, let's grow up as a society. We have so much misinformation. That's why we're so sick. You know, the people have like a 30-second attention span. And it's a serious crisis that we have. I mean, it's the collapse of our economic system. Honestly, the autism rate is not going down. I'm working with some autistic kids. It's a lot of time and effort I have to put in. But guys, in 5 years, 1 in 2 children in this country will be autistic. That's a
Yep,
$17 trillion cost. That's a $17 trillion cost just for that alone. That will
exactly.
bankrupt our country. It's already bankrupt because I don't even know how many billions or trillions are being spent on all those people that are giving these therapies, and so few kids are getting better that it's ridiculous the amount of money we're spending. We're not getting a large quantity of these kids retrieving their health and being normal.
I tell you also, Natasha, we live in California, and we know that California is not an easy place. And here, children are forced to get vaccines, and if they want to get education, it's a big thing. But actually, today I was thinking about it. Let's say now that people know better, okay, now that they're questioning, then why we as the parents not just rise up and say we're not going to send our children? You know, we don't care. So how long the schools and all these facilities will keep the pressure? You know, no, you must get the vaccine. But let's say in the school, in the whole, maybe 5 families will show up, but nobody will show up. And we do this for a week. That, this is all what we need, right? It's just this awakening situation where people suddenly understand that we have a power. Forget the politics, because nobody cares. Even the doctors, they go and treat their own families. Nobody cares about you. It's really taking charge of your own self and your own family, learning about, that's the basics, right? And in California, it's so bad. I mean, and you see so many parents that they don't know what to do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
duh, then it's, you know, the change is in your hand. If my children would be at the school at that time, I would do so much change. I mean, I would stand with the signs. I would do so much. But I don't know, it's still not enough. Probably the COVID was not enough. I don't know.
No, no, no. Look, you do need to get it. There's a number of agencies, you know, the Children's Health Defense, they will help you with the vaccine. But here's one question for an intelligent parent to ask their physician. When my daughter, you know, who's now turned 40, was 3 months old, the standard was to get the DPT,
Right.
diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus.
Yes.
Okay. And many kids got sick with that. They had neurological damage. I know my daughter at 3 months, her leg blew up. I was up all night with my mother putting on cold compresses. I wanted to kill the pediatrician the next day. So then I said to the parents, so all of a sudden I said, they switched from the DPT and they came into the MMR based on what science? Why are we giving MMR now to the children? And what happened? Why did we abandon DPT? Where did that shift happen based on what data that such a significant change in childhood vaccines was made? They don't talk about DPT anymore. Did those diseases just vanish? Tetanus vanished? Diphtheria vanished? Pertussis vanished? Or is there something here that we need to investigate?
They combine all those. They make a Tdap, so there was a triple. They made MMR, measles, mumps. They combine all them together, kind of to save time. And this is horrible. This is an absolute torture when you bring your precious child, and just for you to let them learn in school, you shoot them with so many, and sometimes with a six, two here, one on the leg. Like, this is horrible. And you know, and people tell, yeah, but what's the difference? This is not like, it's same like eating. It's not. It's actually going straight into your blood. Let's say when you eat something, you have digestive system, you have an immune system, and it will kind of, you know, will do something, will alarm something. But once it's straight into the blood, you basically create toxicity in the blood.
That's right. Well, look, all vaccines are a small amount of the toxic material to alert your immune system. So then the next question is, okay, what are you using, aluminum or mercury as a stabilizer?
Right.
Okay. What are you using? Start asking questions. And if they can't answer the question, say, I'm not doing it until you can answer all of my questions. Okay.
Tell you what, Natasha, it's a fear. And why the fear is because we don't have the basics. We people don't have the base. The people no longer have this unique base that we had and this opportunity to learn from our grandparents, you know, and that's what, like, I feel once you don't have a base, then fear is right there, you know. Invisible thing can create what it creates and
Yeah,
hold us.
it's mind control. So I said, if you want to be mind controlled and not even think about anything, you were given a brain for a reason, not just to, be what I call a social parasite and just look at TV and really know nothing, because all of the TV information, 99% of it is scripted, and you're getting the same, feed. So like you said, it's not a political issue, it's a health issue.
Right.
And you should not be allowing anybody to put anything in your child's body unless you fully understand what the consequences are. Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And I'd say we have to start holding our authorities accountable. There's no more free pass. They're not gods. They're not smarter. They're just, doing something that they're just following rules. And I can just tell you, in war crimes, following rules and doing bad things is not forgivable. Okay.
I tell you, it's so hard, Natasha, when people, when just people, you know, believe somebody. That's like, it's heartbreaking to see when the people will so easily wig up their own authority and they'll just give to someone else and you take care of me, you do this, you do that. They don't realize that actually it's weakening our generation. It's making us sicker. It's make so let's live on a positive note. Let's
Yeah.
everyone.
I think the people in the 20s, I'm liking this, are really looking for truth. They're looking for people and products they can believe in. That gives me a hope. And the fact that the alcohol sales have gone down radically. They're actually having to rip out vineyards in California, which is a multi-billion-dollar business. That gives me hope that the young people are looking for information. The one thing I'm still saying we have a lot of work to do is stop believing everybody you see on social media. They don't know it. They don't have historical knowledge. They don't have in-depth knowledge. It's like somebody told me the other day. I did an interview with Jenny Patel Thompson, a good friend of mine, and she said somebody wrote in and says, "Oh, well, we did our research on the internet and we decided to formulate our own probiotic, and based on the research, it came out." And I said, "Oh, really?" So I said, that's like somebody telling me, I went and did my research and I used Chat GPT and I did all this Google searches and I used other AI. And tomorrow I'm going to build my own space shuttle. That's how much sense that makes. I said, understanding microbiology takes years, years of knowledge, understanding that the bacteria are significantly smarter than we are. And they're much more resourceful because they are so tiny. They can form alliances, do things that we are not capable of, not because we don't have the ability, but because we've been dumbed down so much. That's the big problem. We are not using our capacity for evaluation, knowing, and we have to shift the paradigm. If it's not just about the vaccines, it's about everything in our society. It's
Yeah.
the breakdown of the family, the fact that we have huge infertility problems. We're not replacing our society. Young women are not giving birth to healthy children. We have huge problems. And people are talking about nonsense on social media instead of saying, I came from the era, it was the hippie era, even though I wasn't a hippie, but they were very smart people. They challenged authority and they said, listen, we're not doing that just because you're telling us. We're going to think for ourselves. And that's what I think needs to happen here. People got to be, what I can just end with and just say, look, if you're going to buy stuff that's meaningless because it looks sexy or it comes in plastic, don't. Because I have always said from the beginning, no health food store should be selling any plastic. Forget the plastic bags. That's a joke. All the plastic containers in a health food store shouldn't be there. A health food store should only be selling stuff in glass, period. Because the microplastic issue just became relevant now. So if, and they're taking probiotics that nobody is following any standard, they're ingesting living microbes and they have no clue who's making the product, who researched the product. It's only what's read on the label. And if they don't think they're playing Russian roulette with their health, I would tell them think again. It's a very serious problem we have here. And the fact that most of these probiotics don't work is a good thing because we are endangering our health. I have no idea what people are putting in those products. I have no idea who their supplier is. It's not one supplier, it's multiple suppliers. These people are just reading research, and based on the research and their knowledge of the research, no firsthand knowledge, are just making products and spending millions of dollars on promotion. And if this is what we want as a society, this is exactly what we're going to get. And that's what I need to leave people with. Learn to discern because the times are very challenging.
I always say that when you buy something, you need to know from who you're buying, who is the person behind. Ask questions, not because of the fancy name, not because of you see this on the TV. You need to question, and when you question, then the God will guide you to the right people. And what I've seen is that when people just following without questioning, and they think that it's helping them, they are harming themselves,
Oh,
unfortunately.
absolutely.
Like
They're harming themselves big
all
time.
fancy supplements, but this is a pure turmeric, they might say. But in reality, it does not even contain turmeric, or turmeric coming from somewhere in China that been picked maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So it looks nice. It has a nice label, but who is behind? Did you ask from where they brought? And then then I always look, okay, let's come to the center. Let's use basic stuff like probiotics that are restoring the flora. Then learn how to prepare our own simple medicine. It's not complicated. You don't need a huge machinery. It's just basic knowledge and simple herbs, and then we'll create a healing. That's the beauty of it. And thank you so much. Thank you for
Yeah.
giving the time.
And my pleasure. And I hope it's helping young women. We need to help young women. I hope they learn. And I would love to have them join us and share because I love the direct questions. That's how we learn from each other.
I can.
And
Someone would like to ask any question, they can. Right now, I didn't see anyone asking us, but maybe we have many people joined us, but I don't see if is anyone have any questions. Well, I always have a questions. People. Well, I have a couple groups, and actually, one of the if you want to, we can slide into the question. One
just
question.
one because I got to get off at 4.
Okay,
So we
let's
got
do
5 minutes.
urinary tract infections in the young children. Young children now at age 4 and 5 getting lots of urinary tract infections. Some
Mhm.
that we didn't hear this prior, not that often. Okay, so what should we do?
The superdophilus has been tested on a child 9 years old in the Ukraine. It was a published case history study with a doctor, professor from there. It had repeated urinary tract infections, and the superdophilus was able to take care of it and stop the reoccurrence. It is so important because urinary tract infections are not just nuisances; they're quite dangerous if they go unresolved.
Right. So how they should take it? They should take a one capsule if it's for the child. One capsule, adult can take two. They can take this 3 times a day, or start twice in the morning, in the evening, or
Yeah,
day in the.
we're all different and we all have level of difference of infection. But the good part, you can take a whole bottle of our product and will never harm you.
This
That's
is
why,
something it's very important, Natasha, to tell everyone this
yeah,
is not a medicine. People look
no,
at it like, are you sure if I think I took one more, nothing gonna happen.
no. I don't sell anything that can ever harm people.
Exactly.
This is something that evolved with us as Homo sapiens. These are native to us. These bacteria have been in the literature for over 100 years. I don't fool around with designer organisms or try to impress you with some research that may think that it's going to treat this symptom. That's not what the bacteria role is. Bacteria role is to create a symbiosis with the human host and keep the human host healthy because it's the best place for them to thrive. That's the relationship. And if
That's
you don't know that or have that, that's why we have disease.
amazing. And
And
know that this question come up prior with another person, and we've treated nicely, and thank you so much. And there is so many children and adult already healed and on the way to healing, and we appreciate everything that you do for us. Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Spread the word because I want to leave a legacy that people are better and that we're especially saving the children. That's my heart. I want to save the children. We have too many sick children and that need our help.
That's what we're trying to do, right? We're all trying to do the same. We're trying to create a healthy generation. So when we leave this world, at least we know that we did something. We left something good, and we saved another life. That's
That's right. That's right.
so much.
Thank you all. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Listen, learn, and share. That's my advice.
Yes, please share. It's so important.
Yeah.
All the
Thank
best.
you. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.